Book your next event at Pomodoros.com.
The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the views of WSIC.
It's 11:06 on WSIC.
Oh,
News
Lord, David.
Radio.
Oh,
sorry.
Lord, David, it's going to be a Friday.
I'm trying to introduce here. Please.
Okay, all right.
It's 11:06 on WSIC News Radio. You're listening to We're Just Saying with Senator Vicky Sawyer and David. If you'd like to be part of the show, 844-STUDIO-4. We are streaming live from the WSIC News app and all social media apps in between. Senator Sawyer, good to see you 2 weeks in a row.
I'm so excited again. I say that. I'm excited, but I enjoy being excited, because I kind of enjoy life.
Well, yeah, you are an enjoyer of life.
Yeah, I do. I mean, sometimes with being a politician, it's not always fun. But,
Fair.
But today, I'm incredibly excited for another breaking news. We just figured this out.
Well,
you and I may get, after you turn off your phone.
After I turn off my phone.
You and I may get a chance to host election night coverage, bringing us back on WSIC.
Exactly. All the letters and emails and phone calls asking for us have been heard. So I think we're maybe able to work this out. Tentative yes. From station manager.
Yes, and
hesitant yes from station
we're
manager.
saying it out very, very. The owner, right?
Yes.
We went straight to the top.
We did.
To the owner, and we begged him because we heard from you. You missed our election night coverage last year, and now we want to make sure we bring it to you. And we'll have folks coming in the studios, and we're going to work on that. I'm excited.
It's actually putting some stuff together, and it's going to be fun. Hopefully, fingers crossed. A very beneficial election night for the Republican Party across federal, state races and everything. But I'm excited to bring it back because that was always very fun when we did that.
Yeah, it absolutely is very, very much fun. And you know what else I'm kind of excited about?
What's that?
If you hear a little ding in the background, it is not your phone dinging at you. It is my new computer dinging at me because I have done something I thought I would never do, David.
What's that? I'm
moving from the world of Microsoft.
Oh, no.
To MacBook.
You've embraced the evil empire.
I have embraced.
Thank you. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Bill.
I am newly on getting this MacBook in my life now. I can tell you that I cannot figure out how to turn off the notifications.
As it just started going.
Starting now.
All right, so just turn the sound off on your computer.
I'm going to do it. Okay, let's see.
If you can find, or sorry, it's not a computer, it's a Mac.
It's a Mac. Yeah.
Sorry, it's a Mac. It's not a computer, it's a Mac. So I felt the bougie aura come in when you walked in the door.
Yeah, I know. I drive a Tesla, and now I'm a Mac person. Who am I?
I don't know. You're like next week you'll be a Democrat.
Yeah.
If you keep this up, you're going to be a Democrat.
Well,
Yeah.
I have been accused of being,
Rhino and Democrat.
Well, just because I pretty much don't agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene about cloud seeding. I don't necessarily think that makes me a bad Republican.
Strong with that woman.
The craziest strong.
I mean, now to be fair, she may have been, like I was, a fan of G.I. Joe back in the 80s, and they did have the weather dominator that could control the weather. My 80s geeks out there will certainly know what I'm talking about. So maybe she just think that's finally come to fruition.
Maybe so.
We don't have flying cars yet, but we can control the weather. Makes perfect sense.
We are close to having flying cars.
Bill gets it, man.
Bill does.
Bill's on, and I have missed Bill, by the way. He has been dealing with his newborn and doing a fantastic job as a father, but having him back has been great.
Yes, because he gets our humor.
He does.
Thankfully, one person does.
One person does.
They're like the crazy conspiracy things that are going on out there. Just especially let off by Marjorie Taylor Greene, it really hurts you being able to actually make true progress when there is an actual issue. So it's kind of funny to see some of these wackadoodle things.
Well, I think that at the end of the day, what frustrates me is those are the people that get all the airtime, and they think, this is the Republican Party. This is the base of the. This is the majority of the Republican Party. No, it's really not.
No, we're not.
It's really not. We ignore her as much as you guys do. It's like come on.
It's kind of like Antifa for the Is it Antifa?
Well, yeah, it'd be
for the left version.
For the left version, maybe Antifa.
Yeah.
But say this about Democrats, man, they keep their kooks in line.
They really do.
Legislatively speaking and stuff like that.
kind of.
Well, from a legislative standpoint,
Okay.
right? Not from like them going out and doing their thing, but they successfully marginalize them enough to where they don't like dominate every single aspect of their party.
Well, when you have like your main campaign team being the mainstream news, I mean, it kind of helps
It
you.
does. That's fair. That is
I mean,
fair.
they may not be able to keep theirs in line as much. In fact, I saw. Now, did you ever watch Handmaid's Tale or read the Handmaid's Tale book?
So I heard about it,
Yeah.
and after hearing about what it was about, I decided it was not something I was going to watch.
Well, okay.
When
Well,
reading the summary of The Handmaid's Tale online, it's not something that jumps out as something David wants to watch. It's just, it doesn't reek David's kind of show. All right. I'm more of a Eastbound and Down, Righteous Gemstones, those sort of things. Cobra Kai on Netflix, like that's more my jam. The Handmaid's Tale, not so much.
and G.I. Joe.
And
right?
G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
There's nothing not to love about G.I. Joe.
There's nothing not to love about. I was more of a He-Man's and
Nothing wrong with He-Man. Loved He-Man.
Yeah, Hanna-Barbera. But anyways, this past weekend, talking about some folks, there was a bunch of protesters at a Mark Robinson event. I guess he canceled it. And now again, this is only off Twitter, so I totally fact check me here. But there was pictures of about 5 or 6 people in the Handmaid's Tale costumes with the red, with the white.
Stuff. They show
really?
up at other stuff. Yes, I have seen pictures of them before. That's not an urban legend. No, they actually show up in the Handmaid's Tale. And here's what's funny to me. And I always want to try to educate the liberal side of the world, the media and some Democrats and stuff like that. All of them believe that everyone watches these uber left-wing shows, stuff like that. It's like when they bring when they roll the cast of the West Wing out, and stuff like that, and do the inside thing with and I watched the West Wing, enjoyed it. Yes, it had a political bent to it, but every 4 years they roll that cast out, right? And they have a reunion, like they did one from the White House recently, and they're you got to get out and vote and everything like that. Most people didn't watch that show.
Yeah,
they don't get the inside stuff and everything like that, and it doesn't. Martin Sheen coming out pretending to be the president doesn't move a lot of voters that don't already agree with you guys. So I get it. Roll them out. You guys like the stars. I get it. But it doesn't have the impact you think it does.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there.
Yeah. Well, so there has been some things that were on impact, guys. I'm sorry to bring this up, but did you see the Saturday Night Live skit with Mark Robinson?
I did. That one and the one with Kamala Harris.
Cracked me
SNL is
up.
finally getting back to
Yes.
some good stuff. There was a period there where you just couldn't get much good out of them on making fun of politics. They have finally come back to bringing out some funny stuff. The $10,000 pyramid with Mark Rob, that was funny.
It was funny. I'm sorry, our guys' expense, but our team's expense.
But here's if you can't laugh at yourself, I mean, come on. I mean, I have been the I have actually been the subject of a political cartoon before, and I thought it was funny. I thought it was hysterical. I loved every minute. And like it's not. It doesn't necessarily have to be like true. It's just playing off things like that. But it's like it's funny. Laugh at yourself. Lighten up just a little bit. I mean, like look at that and say, you know what? That's funny.
That's funny.
I'm sorry. And there's nothing wrong with laughing at it.
Yes,
it's okay.
I have 2 political cartoons on very disgusting subject matters, and I have them framed.
Yes.
I mean, it's just kind of cool, I mean, first of all, they painted me skinny. I was very happy about that.
Well done.
Yeah, I know. Now, the vampire teeth were a little much. They only come out on certain nights, like full moon. But other than that, the likeness was pretty good.
Well, there you go then. Well, you were in Raleigh this week. And
yes,
when we come back after the break,
that.
we'll talk about hurricane relief and everything that was going on in Raleigh this week. Busy week. But you were listening to We're Just Saying on WSIC News Radio. We'll be right back.
There's more We're Just Saying with North Carolina Senator Vicki Sawyer on the way from 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Oh boy, talk about a sight to see. Did you see the Northern Lights? Last night actually made it down into the Carolinas. Most of the time you had to use your phone night mode to see it. Really something astonishing. And I'll tell you what, it just doesn't get any better in the weather department. Plenty of sunshine as we warm into the low 70s this afternoon. We'll fall back into the mid-40s under a clear sky tonight. Beautiful weekend coming up. Mid and upper 70s for Saturday and Sunday. That's your forecast. For the WSIC Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Listen, save, enjoy. The WSIC app, available now in your app store.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Brookdale Village in Huntersville presents their free concert series Live Under the Oaks on Friday. The Village is open all day for shopping and dining with Rocky Lynn taking the stage at 6 p.m. Bring your chairs and enjoy on-site beverages from Red Rocks. Live Under the Oaks with Rocky Lynn kicks off at 6 p.m. Friday in Brookdale Village. Old Town Cornelius is alive again with October's Second Friday Street Festival. Join friends and neighbors on October 11th from 5 to 9 p.m. at the Oak Street Mill in Cornelius for the Second Friday Street Festival season finale. Live music, an all-star lineup of breweries, delicious food trucks, sweet treats, a kids zone, petting zoo, vendors, and giveaways highlight a night of fun for the entire family. We'll see you in Old Town Cornelius for the Second Friday Street Festival. NASCAR returns to Charlotte Motor Speedway for their annual fall weekend in October on the Roval. The Xfinity Series holds the Drive for the Cure 250 on Saturday. The Cup Series competes in the Bank of America Roval 400 on Sunday. Weekend ticket packages as well as daily tickets are available. Also, check out deals for military service members, college students, suites, the Champions Pavilion, the Indoor Clubhouse, Terrace Box, 4-packs, and more. Don't miss any of the entertainment, including Eli Young Band and Tim Duggar concerts before NASCAR's National Series step closer to their championships. Visit CharlotteMotorspeedway.com for information, tickets, and details. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
The Renaissance Festival is back Saturdays and Sundays, now through November 24th. A non-stop outdoor family adventure. Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com while supplies last.
Now back to We're Just Saying with North Carolina Senator Vicky Sawyer on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Welcome back to We're Just Saying on WSIC News Radio with Senator Vicky Sawyer and David. Like to be part of the show, 844-STUDIO-4. We are still streaming live on the WSIC News app and all the social media platforms. We do have a caller to kick off this segment, so we will go ahead and bring him on. Hi, William. Welcome to the show.
Hello, David. Good morning, Vicky. How are y'all?
Good morning. Doing well. Thanks for calling in.
Yes. Listen, I tell you, I don't know where to start. This has been a long election season, and I think it started back in 2020, in my opinion.
Agree 100. It seemed like it started right after the last one.
So, we're in the fourth quarter now, and it's getting down to the nitty-gritty and everything, and I just wanted to comment on the fact that everybody, including you, David, and Vicky, and Jeff McNeely, I talked to him earlier this week, we're all stepping up to the plate to help those folks in the mountains, and I've got kinfolk over there. I've been up there once or twice helping out as much as I can. Mm-hmm. And that's what it's going to take. We the people, and we'll get this thing figured out. We'll get it straightened out. I know that there's been a lot of speculation and this and that, and he said, she said stuff going on in the social media, and that's going to continue to go on because if we allow the media to try to run a nation, we'll never know the truth.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to sift through that. We have to sift through the good and the bad and figure out which is fiction and which is fact. And we'll figure this thing out. And if the government wants to step in at some point in time and help us, and they are to a point, then we'll take it. But we the people will figure this out and get this thing back in some kind of order. It's just going to be a long process before there's any kind of normalcy back up there in the mountains for sure.
Yeah.
But my thoughts and prayers are for everyone that has lost someone, because the people that have lost their life, they're totally free now. They're totally free, and they'll be free forever. And that's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
My wife passed away a couple years ago, and so she's got some company. Some people passed away during that storm, and now she's got some company, and that's just the way I look at that. Now, going back to the voting thing, I wanted to ask a question, Vicki. I know that I've been seeing some commercial ads where they're talking about voter ID, and there was a commercial ad that, I think if I'm wording it right, the way they worded it was, is if you come in there to vote and you don't have an ID, you're okay to be permitted to vote, but you have to show a form explaining as to why you don't have a voter ID. Is that true or false?
Yeah, so that was actually before the pandemic. Pandemic. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, sorry about that. Before the hurricane relief, that was true before, and you would vote, but they would vote provisionally, and so they would keep your ballot, but then they would try to cure it afterwards, and then you would have an attestation. I never can say that word correctly, as to be who you are, and there's certain ways that you can prove who you are. So. Yes, but we also have waived fees for DMV, so folks who don't have a license can go back and get it. They also have waived fees at the Register of Deeds. So if you need a copy of your certified birth certificate, you can go to the Register of Deeds. They can pull it up on the system. Make sure if you have a family member to go with you, because that's one of the ways you can prove who you are. So yes, sir, there is. And the part of the hurricane relief package that we just did had some relaxation of certain things, but not for voting rules, but those will be made at the local level with a bipartisan vote, which I thought was incredibly smart of the election chairs like Representative Gray Mills and those to put them in there. So you have to have a bipartisan vote of the local board so that they can make decisions about stuff like that. But yes, voter ID is still in effect for this election, and nothing really has changed in that area, regardless of the hurricane.
Right. Well, that's, it's trying to give everybody a fair opportunity to be able to vote. So I'm totally agree with the voter ID. I think that's a good thing to have in place. Also, if I remember right, on the ballot ticket, you have a blank line down there. It says for fill-in. And in my opinion, I know this is not going to count, but I'm just going to put it in there after I check someone's name. I'm just going to put down there on the line, "We the people."
Okay.
And that's going to be in honor of all those folks in the mountains that may or may not be able to get an opportunity to vote, and obviously the ones that have passed away and are deceased won't be able to vote, and that's who I'm putting that down for.
Yeah.
We the people.
Very good. I like the sentiment, but also if I don't know if that cancels out your vote
Yeah,
if you were to.
Yeah, that's what that was going to be. This is just me personally thinking that it possibly could, Vicki, because I do know that I don't know if this has been going on too, but there's been some discrepancy about if you go to the voting polls and you are given a ballot ticket, and you see someone write something on it, whether they're trying to write a D on there or I don't know, but if they're writing something on there, then you have the right to ask for a blank ballot ticket, because if anything is wrote on there other than what you're supposed to be writing on, it could cancel out.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think if you've checked a box for someone and then you write something in, it can potentially invalidate your ballot. So I would like I said, I'm with Vicki. I appreciate the sentiment, but definitely make sure that you don't do anything where your vote might be invalidated.
I'm going to, my local precinct, that's to be the first thing I'm going to ask them when they give me my ballot ticket. I'm going to ask them if I can still write someone's name or write in a fill-in, and it not cancel out. And if they tell me it won't cancel out, then that's what exactly I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm going to put down "We the people."
Awesome.
Gotcha.
Well,
So,
William, thank you so
anyway,
much for the call.
Thank you so much for everything that y'all do. Really
Thank you,
appreciate
sir.
it.
I appreciate
Have
it.
a good one. Bye-bye.
Well, I'm glad you brought up
Bye-bye.
hurricane relief. That's what we did this week.
Yeah, actually, a lot of stuff going on in Raleigh for hurricane relief. So
But
talk
you
us
know
through
what's
what you
not
guys
going on
voted
right now?
Your computer went down.
Yeah.
See, that was what's the word? Predictable.
So
Predictable.
for the
So
listening
let's check and
audience,
see what your memory is.
I'm looking at a blank screen, but it does have an apple on there with notes, and there's nothing else. So
Well, that's what's important, the apple.
the apple.
Because, that's what you bought.
That's
what
I
you bought into.
Okay, so this week we went back to Raleigh. Now, remember that short session was over, but we did put in a few dates for veto overrides, and they call it an adjournment resolution. And so this was always going to be a date that we were going to be back in, but we didn't necessarily have to show up. So, but thankfully we showed up, and we passed a hurricane relief package. Again, we talked about some of the things done with William about the different things that we're going to work on to enable local boards to administer those elections. And I tell you what, I was worried at the very beginning that folks in Western North Carolina would be so busy that they didn't want to vote. But now what I'm hearing from folks is that because some of the federal response has been so bad, and really that $750 like moment of like a first initial tranche of FEMA money to each individual, and then some of them are not getting. Some people have been applying for that and have been refused that just because of income level and the way it's stacked up. Couple that with like money to Ukraine and Palestine and Lebanon and all of these other things. So we can give all this money to overseas, and our own people are hurting. And you initially come out with a $750, aid for individual. I think those type of things have ignited folks in the West to make sure that they are definitely going to vote, especially for president. At least from what I'm hearing, because of the response from FEMA, and it's not been exactly where they wanted it to be.
Well, and what's interesting about that is that I don't know if you saw earlier this week, I saw a clip of Leo. It was David Axelrod, who used to be, I guess, Obama's campaign manager and run his stuff. And he was talking, and he said, "Well, a lot of damage up in the hurricane areas and everything like that, Western North Carolina." And he said, so he goes, from a voting standpoint, he goes, the folks around Asheville, they're more sophisticated and they're more educated, so they'll get out, they'll find their way to vote. Now he said, once you start getting the western side, maybe he goes, those people not as educated and everything like that. So basically intimating that people in Asheville, which is a deep blue city, they're the educated and the smart people. They'll figure out how to vote. But those rubes as you go west, of which I was one, thank you very much.
Yeah, Candler.
Candler, yep. And so they're going to, going into Haywood County and up into the Silva area. So they're going to, that may not be out with the underlying tone clear that, hey, North Carolina might be better in play because those are Republican votes up there,
right?
And those people just can't figure out a way to get out and vote.
If you've seen anything from social media that is enlightening your heart, I saw a TikTok, I know TikTok, but they said, it's all fun and games to talk about your redneck friend until this guy shows up. And then you see a guy with like all of his like mules and horses on a train going up the mountain with tons of and I'm pretty sure that guy's going to figure out how to vote.
Yeah, exactly.
100%. If those guys are in there booting up, strapping up their boots and going in and taking care of folks, I'm pretty sure they're going to make it to the election polling location on election day or before to vote.
Well, and some of the work you all did obviously this week was made to ensure that because there's some voting sites that my understanding is people have gone up and reviewed the areas and those that are not able to host, they're currently looking for other places for communications to get it out. So the state is doing what it has to do to make sure people can get out and vote up there.
And thank God for Elon Musk.
Exactly.
Not only did he give me my beautiful Tesla and all of these other things, the Starlink has actually been the most amazing communication tool because there was nothing. We heard, and I hope you guys will look at some of these, the press conference that I attended, and the Western North Carolina delegation spoke, and they spoke so well. But, the devastation that they had, a lot of it is that you were isolated. You could not call 911. And in fact, shout out to local radio. I think Mike Clampett, representative out east near, I think your area.
Haywood County, yes.
He said the only way that people could actually communicate or listen to communication was AM and FM radio.
Yep.
So they had two stations that stayed open 24 hours to take in any kind of calls they could get, but also disseminate information because there were no cell phone towers. There were no Viper towers, which is what people use, emergency folks use for all that stuff. There was no fiber. There was none of this stuff. So if it wasn't for AM, FM radio and also Elon Musk, then, those folks could still be, having a lot more issues with communication than they already do.
No, 100%. And when I'd gone up the Monday after, by the time I got up to the top of the mountain, no cell phone signal whatsoever, like completely blank. So, like nothing, like you'd see like the maps disappear and everything like that. So the fact that people are starting to get up and running again, the Starlink has been great. Having radio up there just shows that, even the old school radio still serves a very, very great purpose. Like this show, obviously. Yes. You're listening to We're Just Saying on WSIC News Radio. We'll be right back.
Stay with us. We'll have more of We're Just Saying with NC Senator Vicki Sawyer after this short break on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Oh boy, talk about a sight to see. Did you see the northern lights last night? Actually made it down into the Carolinas. Most of the time you had to use your phone night mode to see it. Really something astonishing. I'll tell you what, it just doesn't get any better in the weather department. Plenty of sunshine as we warm into the low 70s this afternoon. We'll fall back into the mid-40s under a clear sky tonight. Beautiful weekend coming up. Mid and upper 70s for Saturday and Sunday. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
For over 57 years, Nelson Royals has been serving the Lake Norman, Mooresville, Statesville, and surrounding counties. Nelson Royals has work in Western clothing and over 4,000 boots and shoes in stock. Brands like Ariat, Rocky, Justin, Durango, Tony Lama, Red Wing, Thorogood, Skechers, Hey Dude, and many more. Check them out at nelsonroyals.com.
Temperatures are heating up, but the prices are cooling down at Randy Marion Ford Lincoln here in Statesville. How about this? Over $8,000 off F-150s. That's the XLT trim, that's the Lariat trim, that's the Platinum trim, that's the Limited trim. That is the Crew Cab, that is the Super Cab. You name it, Randy Marion Ford. We got it right here in Statesville at a big discount on F-150s. Again, over $8,000 off. Come see us today, I-77, exit 49B.
Fall is here. Be ready with these propane fuel deals from G&B Energy. Get cozy with a new fireplace and save up to $500 with rebates on cozy heat gas inserts. Or receive a free on-off remote with purchase of select gas log sets. The best deal of all, Rinnai tankless water heaters start at $295 after rebates. Visit G&B Energy in Statesville or gbeenergy.com. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
Hi, this is Bob McIntosh with the McIntosh Law Firm in Davidson. Since 1997, we have been committed to providing our clients with competent, caring, and experienced legal services. Learn more at McIntoshLawFirm.com.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Stocks in the two big names in ride-hailing are rallying today. Shares of Uber are up 8%, Lyft shares up 10% after last night's big reveal of Tesla's self-driving robo-taxi. The service could become a direct competitor to ride-hailing, but other than the vehicle prototype itself, with no steering wheel or pedals, last night's event was light on details, meaning any real threat to the ride-hailing market is not imminent. Tesla shareholders seem to agree. Shares are down 7%. Volkswagen had high hopes for its EV sales around the world, including the U.S., but those hopes are running low now. VW says that sales of its EVs tumbled more than 40% in the U.S. last quarter. EV sales also fell 15% in China, where buyers are turning to cheaper domestic electrics. Even in VW's home continent of Europe, its EV sales fell 12%. Stock indexes are reversing yesterday's losses, with the Dow and S&P once again in record territory. Dow up 0.75%, NASDAQ up 1/4, S&P up 0.5. Andrew O'Day, Bloomberg Radio.
Call now to speak with NC Senator Vicky Sawyer at 844-STUDIO-4. It's We're Just Saying on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Welcome back to We're Just Saying on WSIC News Radio with Senator Vicky Sawyer and David. I'd like to be part of the show, 844-STUDIO-4. We are still streaming live on the WSIC News app. And you've got a bar on your computer.
Update on the Mac. I've got a docking thing up and something is up. Just total black screen.
Technology. Well done, man. Because good thing you didn't get a PC.
Yeah, I know.
Good
I should probably
see.
I probably should send it to anybody else who wants to see my.
Yeah, hold it up to the camera.
Yeah, like pitiful.
If anybody's got any tech support, they can throw it over to Bill. Let us know.
Hey, new things. Oh, you know what? I always tell my daughters, every time you start something new, you're not supposed to do it right the first time. You don't learn to walk in a day. You can't learn to do a MacBook in a day either. So
that's fair.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't have had to learn anything if you bought a PC.
I know.
I'm just throwing it out there.
I know.
Just throwing it out there.
I know. I'm trying new things. I'm trying to grow as a person.
Well done.
I know.
Done.
Well, I mean, not physically.
How's it working for you so far?
It's not doing so great. I'm not doing great. Okay. Speaking of which, I want to talk about some brag stuff real quick. Some good things. Okay. I was at the Statesville Airport, and I worked about 3 days last week over the weekend, and we closed it up because it was just time to get things moving around. The amount of you who came to Statesville Airport to volunteer, pitch in, shout out to the folks who organized that and all of the pilots and those folks. I remember one day we were sitting there, and they said, it was Saturday, and there were like 11 Amazon trucks full. I mean, full of packages that came in. And, at some point you're like, oh my gosh, this is too much. But man, all of the volunteers there, we broke them down, got it together, got those shipments out. And then by Sunday, we had everything out of that warehouse that needed to go. And those went to a lot of places like Burnsville. And this was a private thing, not written. We talked a lot about folks who kind of cowboyed up and got the hurricane relief out. And this is one of those examples. Shout out to Matt and Kaylee. They did a fabulous job getting everybody together. And thank you to the city of Statesville and the airport folks for letting them have that hangar. And it was so, in the middle of a campaign, a lot of times you hear just the worst of everybody, and just negative and nasty and all this other stuff. But man, it restored my faith in humanity being up there. It was just absolutely fabulous. I also want to give a shout out to a lot of our folks down east who are elected. They've been through these type of hurricanes before, and you've heard from the press conference and actually on the floor. I think Senator Tim Moffitt said it very well. Like, I didn't know what you guys went through when this kind of stuff happens, and now I understand. Those senators and House members at down east, man, they have gotten generators and pulled together National Guard and worked real hard. And man, it's just like, as much as politics come into play, this Senate family that I have is just irreplaceable. They are just, each and every one of my Senate family is truly like a professional, loving family that work and help one another. And I am so proud to be a part of this group of people because they are nothing but loving and caring and getting generators out and doing all kinds of, humanitarian rescue efforts and everything they can do. And I'm proud. I'm proud to be a North Carolina state senator every day, but I'm proud to be a part of the Senate family, especially. We got the hurricane relief done this week, and now, guys, it's only $273 million off the top of my head since my screen is black. And I don't say this lightly, but that is just the first step of a long step of recovery. And also remember, North Carolina has a healthy, quote, rainy day fund. And it is raining, and it rained, and this is what we use it for. And we have gotten a lot of, I can think of so many, Governor Cooper tweets and some other like folks who are Democratic Party tweets who just lambasted us for having this type of savings. But, Senator Berger said this week alone that the estimate for DOT, just the Department of Transportation, to fix what is there is over $5 billion. That is more than our rainy day fund. So instead of us as a state having to rely on the federal government, like if we didn't have that money, we actually can take care of our own. That is strong, prudent financial decisions that Republican General Assembly made. And we took it on the chin a lot. I mean, a lot from people. They were like, why do you need this much money in the bank? Why do you need this much money in the bank? Well, we need this much money in the bank because we live in a natural disaster prone area. I mean, we're kind of similar to Florida and Louisiana and those other places. We have mountains and we have the coast, and both of them have experienced severe flooding and hurricane damage. And now we can take care of ourselves because of what the General Assembly has done by not blowing your money on things that are just the latest political trend of the day. I just over and over again, I'm so thankful to be in the General Assembly, in the Republican majority. And I hope you guys feel that too, because we are going to ask you to vote for us in the fall. And I want to have your votes. And this is one of the reasons of many why. Yeah. And and I saw several, and it wasn't just past tweets about having the rainy day fund and stuff like that from folks like Cooper and things like that. There was a few tweets directly after the disaster. Boy, man, how shame Republicans cut taxes and things like that. And it's just like, and didn't spend on these houses and things like that. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but did you see that damning, terrible article that was the New York Times wrote blaming us for? Oh my gosh! They blamed us for loosening building restrictions on these things, and because we loosened building restrictions, somehow we caused these 100-year-old churches to fall in. Yeah. So for perspective, Florida has gone through hurricane after hurricane after hurricane. And so their building standards and everything like that are set up to try to take as much of that as they possibly can. They were still wiped out by what came through. There is no building standard that's going to keep your house up and undamaged in 20 feet of water with rocks and debris. And there's nothing that's going to keep up a McDonald's or a Wendy's or a commercial building or something like that when it is flowing through 20 feet of water with rocks, debris, sewage, and all the things that go with that. Yeah. What a load of crap. Well, it shows you, whoever wrote that article, one was a moron. Yeah. Whoever editor approved that article was also a moron.
moron, but I guarantee you they were probably sitting in some stupid little office up in New York with absolutely no perspective on what it is that goes on down here, what our regulations are, and how we, have things instructed. There is literally nothing that's going to stop natural disasters. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
You have hurricane-proofed houses. People, I saw videos of people going around looking at my hurricane-proofed houses and everything like that, and it was still getting obliterated.
Yeah.
So that just shows a level of ignorance and stupidity from some far left moron up in New York who has absolutely no perspective on how life down here is.
Absolutely not. I mean, I don't know what building code would make sure that the 20 feet of earth that just washed out from underneath your house is going to take, precedent. I mean, how is that going to happen? It was just unneedful. It was really tacky.
Yeah.
And the amount of cuss words in my head right now, I am stumbling over myself because I don't want to get beeped.
We do not have a 7-second delay.
I was waiting for the beep. I was like, where's the beep? Because
we don't have a 7-second delay.
Yeah. If I weren't on the radio, it would just be completely I cannot believe that they would use that as a political tool to try to put the thumb in the Republican eye when it's us who actually are out there on the front grounds and making sure that these folks get help.
You know what I would love? I would love for somebody who's familiar with building and everything like that to take, just a case study, just one case study of a house, right? Dealing with flooding and the rushing rivers coming in on them. And so take a swag at what it would cost to build a house to withstand that. Take a swag at what it would cost to build a commercial building or industrial building to withstand that. And then come back and say, because I guarantee you worry about housing costs now. You want a hurricane-proof a commercial building, you want a hurricane-proof an industrial building or a house. I guarantee you're looking at double to triple the cost of buying a house now as to what it would be to have done anything that could have sustained what came through here.
I think it's just this conspiracy theory time.
Oh, bring it.
All right. I do feel like there is a sector of the Democratic Party who really do want us to have all public transportation, all live within a 100-mile radius of one another, all get rid of our cars and return the mountains and the coast to absolutely 1700s. Like if you live out there, you're just by yourself, no development anywhere, Mother Earth, pristine, and global warming, and the only way that we can protect you from yourself is to make sure that you live on the asphalt jungle.
Oh, absolutely.
And
no,
I think
100%.
that's one of those things right in there, and totally taking out personal freedom and choice and the things that make America absolutely wonderful to live in and great. And that's just their whole mindset. That's this whole thing about putting us on the Democratic plantation again is exactly where some of these people want us to go.
Oh, it's absolutely where they want to go. And you also can't just, you also can't just discount that there are some, especially in the media and stuff like that, who love for natural disaster. Now, they'll swear up and down they don't want them. They live for them to happen so that they can go after Republican legislatures, Republican governors, Republican office seekers, people at the federal and local and state level. They want them to happen.
Do you think Jim Cantori's in on the deal? I saw where he...
Oh, the weather guy?
Yeah.
I don't pay any attention to him.
You don't?
No. I mean, not since I saw that video of him braving the wind, and then this dude just comes and kind of stands there and looks at him, not even moving. Or anything. Since then, I've sort of put him sort of in the sideshow area of things. I have trouble taking that kind of thing seriously.
So my husband and family and I, we vacation a lot on the west coast of Florida. It's a beautiful area. Of course, Milton just went through there. So I was watching the Weather Channel and just to see, because you see those Punta Gorda and places we've stayed before and just see how they are. And then here comes Jim Cantori, and I'm like, no, you ruined it for me.
Yeah,
I mean,
sorry.
I'm just not going to watch this. I'll just kind of try to find clips and stuff online to see what's happening because I just don't know. He's lost all credibility.
But that's one of my favorite clips when he's head to toe rain gear. It's awful. It's brutal. And then there's this guy in a swimsuit just kind of standing behind him going, looking, seeing what's going on. It's one of the greatest things. The internet has its downsides. And I acknowledge that definitely, but it's got some good stuff that comes out on it. And that was one of my favorite things to ever watch. So
maybe
you are a clown.
Maybe him and Kamala Harris are friends. It seems like they have the same
shtick. No doubt about it. Mario Max out contributor. You're listening to We're Just Saying on WSIC News. We'll be right back.
We'll return with more of NC Senator Vicky Sawyer, and We're Just Saying after this short break on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Oh boy, talk about a sight to see. Did you see the northern lights last night? Actually made it down into the Carolinas. Most of the time you had to use your phone night mode to see it. Really something astonishing. I'll tell you what, it just doesn't get any better in the weather department. Plenty of sunshine as we warm into the low 70s this afternoon. We'll fall back into the mid-40s under a clear sky tonight. Beautiful weekend coming up, mid and upper 70s for Saturday and Sunday. That's your forecast for the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here's your WSIC community calendar. Brookdale Village in Huntersville presents their free concert series Live Under the Oaks on Friday. The Village is open all day for shopping and dining with Rocky Lynn taking the stage at 6 p.m. Bring your chairs and enjoy on-site beverages from Red Rocks. Live Under the Oaks with Rocky Lynn kicks off at 6 p.m. Friday in Brookdale Village. Old Town Cornelius is alive again with October's Second Friday Street Festival. Join friends and neighbors on October 11th from 5 to 9 p.m. at the Oak Street Mill in Cornelius for the Second Friday Street Festival season finale. Live music, an all-star lineup of breweries, delicious food trucks, sweet treats, a kids zone, petting zoo, vendors, and giveaways highlight a night of fun for the entire family. We'll see you in Old Town Cornelius for the Second Friday Street Festival. NASCAR returns to Charlotte Motor Speedway for their annual fall weekend in October on the Roval. The Xfinity Series holds the Drive for the Cure 250 on Saturday. The Cup Series competes in the Bank of America Roval 400 on Sunday. Weekend ticket packages as well as daily tickets are available. Also, check out deals for military service members, college students, suites, the Champions Pavilion, the Indoor Clubhouse, Terrace Box, 4-packs, and more. Don't miss any of the entertainment, including Eli Young Band and Tim Duggar concerts before NASCAR's National Series step closer to their championships. Visit CharlotteMotorspeedway.com for information, tickets, and details. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
The Renaissance Festival is back Saturdays and Sundays, now through November 24th. A non-stop outdoor family adventure. Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com while supplies last.
Now more We're Just Saying with North Carolina Senator Vicky Sawyer on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
I'll make sure Welcome back to We're Just Saying on WSIC News Radio with Senator Vicky Sawyer and Tech Support David. If you'd like to be part of the show, 844-Studio-4. An update on Mac news. We may have figured out how to get it back. Oh, huzzah! I'll send you a bill. So the good senator didn't know where the power button was, and she was insistent that the button I was pushing was not the power button, and it turned out it was the power button. She's like, no, that's where my finger goes to turn it on.
This is going to go so smoothly. Yeah, my transition.
You're going to be so productive on this absolute fantastic piece of machinery.
And I have the only reason why I did this is because my real computer, the computer that I've loved so many years for 3 years of my life is broken. Like it's literally broke.
Exactly, and I mean, it is perfectly logical that you would not stay true to the type of a piece of equipment that was so good to you for 3 years.
I mean,
let's go to something
30.
new.
Let's think about this. I mean, when we were growing up, I mean, everything was IBM, IBM.
IBM. I mean, Macs were the cute little things you did graphic design on and things like that. If you wanted a workhorse computer, you were always on a PC.
Well, here I am.
And yet here you are.
But here I am. Okay, we're going to be
now that you've got it up.
Yeah, now that I got it up and I can actually go back to the notes.
We do have some polling that's been coming out and looking. Donald Trump still up in North Carolina, not by a lot, but you're not going to find any polls that have anybody. I mean, except in just deep red or deep blue states, swing states like ours. Which I'll be fair with you. I believe he's up by more than that. I think on election day he will win North Carolina by more than that. I'm glad that Kamala is spending a lot. I hear her radio ads and I see her TV ads. I'm glad she's spending money here because I think it's throwing good money after bad. I do not think she'll win this state. I mean, obviously everybody's got to get out and vote, but I believe Donald Trump's going to win this state comfortably. I think by 3 to 4 points. But that's just my perspective. But Trump, they're either tied or Trump's either tied or up or only just a couple down in every swing state right now.
Yeah, a little bit. So Trump is leading here, 49 to 48. That's how razor thin this thing is. Now, again, usually these polls have a margin of error. So that means either plus or minus like 3 to 4 points. So anyway, these polling results say it's anybody's game in North Carolina, but I kind of feel like you do. I mean, I do see where the voter enthusiasm for Trump is just getting and building and building and building. And I think JD Vance has helped a lot with that.
I agree.
He's actually in Greensboro, I think, right now for a table talk kind of thing. So they really are working North Carolina very heavily. He leads about the same margin of error in some swing states. Arizona, which I would think Arizona, he would be killing it because of immigration. That just
Well, I
that
mean,
just blows my mind that Arizona is a swing state.
yeah, it is. But it's funny. Arizona has always been strange because to me, because the illegal immigration hits them hard.
Yeah.
But Biden carried it the last time, not by much. But I feel like that people, the illegal immigration thing in those border states like Arizona and stuff like that down there, I feel like that's I think he's going to do well in Arizona.
Well, or maybe, I know Arizona is a big snowbird state.
Yeah.
So a lot of folks really don't reside there that live there that may be complaining about it. And maybe they've just gotten inundated with so many folks who did illegal, immigrate illegally that maybe that's
Who
part of the
knows?
thing they're happy
Yeah.
with it. Who knows? Pennsylvania is considered a swing state, but he's up in Pennsylvania, which is man, I hear that Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia are kind of like very close in like political makeup, where you have pockets of blue and most of red. But that's good to hear about
Well,
Pennsylvania.
what people always talked about was the Democrats in the blue wall. Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan. That was always the Democrats' blue wall. If they held all three of those, typically that brought them, to the election. I think that we will see things go back more conventional. North Carolina will go to Trump. Georgia will go to Trump. I think Arizona will go to Trump. So he only has to win one of those three to become president. He's up in Pennsylvania. He's tied. I believe he's either tied or up in Wisconsin. And he's only not that far down in Michigan.
Yeah.
So I feel like
Wisconsin he's up. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I feel like Pennsylvania will go Trump. I really feel like Pennsylvania will go Trump.
Well, so they said in the same polling that Harris is up in Michigan and Nevada. So yeah.
And Republicans seem to always think they have a shot at Nevada. We're usually polling decent there, but it never. The Harry Reid machine is still very. Even though he's gone, the Harry Reid machine is still very well intact there. Getting the casino workers, the union workers, stuff like that, out to vote on election day, they are robotic at getting that out.
Yeah, but Trump reached out to some of the union folks, and
He does. He absolutely does.
That's amazing that what he's been doing to gain all these coalitions and working hard and really untapped resources that Republicans hadn't been able to bridge those gaps before. So maybe
I agree.
I don't know.
I mean, you never
but
know.
You know what?
What?
We should start doing a countdown to election and start making our predictions now. And then when we have time to fill on the election show, then we can see if they are right. And maybe we can do a little sports betting book. And we can see who
Okay, now you're talking my
wins.
language.
Now
You're
see,
talking my
so
language.
let's start. Okay, next week we'll start and we'll do our conspiracies and we'll see who wins.
And what we need to do, we need to get Representative McNeely involved in this.
Yes.
We need to get Jason Sayin involved in this. And a couple of other dignitaries who don't mind friendly. And we won't bet money because
we're betting money.
Okay.
Can we bet money?
Well,
yeah, sports betting.
It's like sports betting. It's like prop betting or whatever like that. But we'll have it, and then on election night we'll have everybody's predictions.
Yes.
But we're gonna put a deadline on it because McNeely will wait until results starts coming in before he makes his predictions. I know how his mind works, and so but we got to get him in early. But then we'll do some comparisons on election night. I'd like to see who was right and who was not so much.
Okay, I'm in. I'm totally in. We could so do that. Maybe we should reach out to all the show hosts and see who they have and they can get in on it a little bit. So that'll be so much fun.
Absolutely.
But you know what? I am going to say one thing. I am not going to say what everybody will say is that it always depends on voter turnout because it does.
It does.
But I'm not going to state the obvious. I'm not going to bring Captain Obvious into the room.
Absolutely.
But we'll just see who shows up to the polls and see what happens. But
whether or not you're able to breathe is dependent upon the air. So I mean, it's like and water is wet. Yes, we get that. And it's those kind of things when you're listening to like sports commentators stuff like that. Joe, if they're going to turn this game around, they have got to score. Brilliant analysis. Brilliant. You get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to give us that kind of deep, penetrating insight into the world. Thank you very much.
Yes.
The Republicans have got to get their voters to the polls.
Yes.
Oh my God! Like before you said that,
Yeah.
we weren't going to do it.
No,
we had no idea that was was a key to this.
No.
I mean, come on. I mean, really. People get paid for that. You can pay me for that. I'll say useless things. I mean, I do here. I don't get paid to say useless things here. I could get paid to say useless things.
Are you asking for a pay raise here?
Yes, I'd love like a 30% pay raise.
Okay.
What's 30% of zero?
Yeah.
No, just our time together is payment enough for me.
Good grief, you goofball. No, I'm excited for these now. I mean, in some ways, I'm really ready for it to be over because all the speculation and like William said earlier, it seems like this election's been going on for 4 years, ever since the last election.
They always start early.
Yeah, I'm nervous about, world affairs. I think the world is kind of very in turmoil. And, I'm just praying that Donald Trump pulls it through because it was just so much more peaceful in the world when we had a strong commander in chief. Right now, I don't even know if Biden, I'm not trying to be goofy, but is it Jill Biden who's running the world?
Here's what I'm going to tell you. I feel like that they've upped his meds or something because he is appearing more and more. And he seems to make a habit of appearing right when Kamala is on stage or on television doing something. And I'm sorry. I have watched Joe Biden for many, many years in politics, and everybody, he's an older guy now, and some people remember him differently than this. Joe Biden has always been a petty individual, and him coming out like he did his first White House press briefing in the press room while she was at a rally in Chicago, and he came out right when she came on stage. Don't tell me he is not bitter, and he's out there doing, and he goes, "Oh, everything I did, she was right there in for. She was a part of everything he did." You want a death knell for a candidate? Be talking about everything they did in the situation we find ourselves in this country. Say she was part of all of it. Don't tell me he's not a petty individual. I love it, but I love this Joe Biden.
You do? You're happy.
He's leaving. He's gone, and now he's coming in, being his usual self. I love it. I think it's fantastic.
He's like just a little anchor around because she does have this weird task of like saying that the last 4 years she wasn't involved in, but yet that she was involved in every decision, but yet the decisions that were made were Joe's, but somehow this is not her fault.
But it was all Trump's fault.
Even though he wasn't in office.
It's a tough task.
It is a
real tough task.
Thankfully, she has word salad.
She does.
She can toss that salad any way she wants to because apparently everything she says means nothing at all.
Well, I saw her comfort animal Tim Walz on an interview yesterday, and the question was,
what animal is he?
I don't. What's the one that has jazz hands? Well, because he's got that weird
I don't know
convulsive
that an animal
jazz hand
has
thing.
Jazz hands.
Well, okay, then he's a comfort jazz dancer because he has that weird thing with his hands
and his eyes.
Yeah,
he's got the crazy eyes.
He does.
He's got the crazy
He's weird.
eyes.
Like I don't mean to be mean, but he's just weird. But in any case, he was on this interview and they were like, you got all these problems you're out here talking about. That Biden and Harris had 4 years to fix it. He goes, well, Trump had 4 years. Well, we didn't have these problems when Trump was president, big boy. And inflation wasn't out of control, and houses weren't, going out so expensive you couldn't afford them, and we weren't seeing the world in turmoil like we do now. Like those things weren't happening then.
On what planet was she on when she chose him as her vice president? Like he is a weird, kooky, creepy dad vibe. Manic. He's just manic.
I think she just, she comes out of California and there's a lot of weird people out there and maybe it just speaks to her. I don't know. But in any case, while we got 1 minute left, State Fair.
State Fair's coming. And did you know every year I tell you, you can ride the Amtrak from Charlotte, Salisbury, Kannapolis, and you can ride it, go and drop right off at the State Fairgrounds.
Yep.
Go and then come home.
And then there's literally no food in the world you can't get there deep fried.
Oh my gosh. Yes. There is so many things that you can get. They've got 72 new food items this year. And some I think are just a little bit crazy. But the one I want to try.
What's that?
Fried hazelnut croissant.
Oh, yeah, that sounds
like a
good.
Nutella.
That sounds good.
That sounds really good.
Sounds really good.
How about this one? A candied oatmeal pie.
Yeah, I'll skip that one. Maybe we talk more about it next week since it's going to be going on for a while.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us. We're just saying, everybody have a great weekend.
Serving you better than ever before. 105.9, 100.7. WSIC, Statesville.